Getting the weekend underway at the betr Darwin Triple Crown Team Representatives Press Conference. Starting off our day here in the Northern Territory, David Noble from Dick Johnson Racing, Simon Brookhouse from Tickford Racing, and Barry Ryan from Erebus Motorsport. Nobes, you're in the middle. I'll start with you.
Sure.
Always great to be back up with the NT. And you guys, I guess I'll start off with what you had this morning. Cool initiative, obviously, with the Indigenous round and what you guys have been up to with DXC. You wanted to start off by explaining how your morning's going?
Yeah, no, it's a very proud event for us to be able to partner with DXC, the government, and a number of our other partners that contribute to our laptop program. I think it's in its third year for us, sixth year for DXC. I think the delivery looks great. I mean, we've had Tio Curran up there this morning telling the story of the kangaroo. So it's a very important round for us to recognise, the partnerships and the extent of what we do. Not only from a partnership perspective with DXC, but the ability for us to connect into the community and provide over 100 laptops for young Indigenous students as they come through. It's been phenomenal for us in the last few years.
Obviously, you've worked across several sporting codes, and we talked about the Indigenous round and involvement in the community. How important is it for sport to be involved in such a way like this?
Yeah, hugely important. I mean, it gives them focus, it gives them some direction, and if we can add our, part to bringing better education, into the territory from that side of things. Talking to the Chief Minister this morning, she's got a lot of challenges in front of her, of one of those which is, education. So to have another platform and a sport like, Supercars to come up to the territory, promote those events, I think she's very excited this morning, and great to have her and the other ministers here to open the event for us.
Excellent. And down to business later on today. Tell us how's the feeling inside the DJR garage heading into this weekend. The results probably not the last couple of rounds quite a bit for you guys, but yeah. The team has had success here in the recent past. Yeah, we have. It certainly doesn't indicate that you're necessarily a guarantee for success. When you come to a new event, we've got new engineers, new setup on the car. We've been poor the last two rounds. We've acknowledged that we need to go away and do some work. So yeah, we're expecting. Look, it's been calm and measured. It's not. There's no areas of concern necessarily for us, but that's why we've got experienced campaigners. Will hasn't had a great start. We've got new engineers and George and Tom. Barry knows them very well. They're very calm and very measured and very methodical about what we'll deliver today and the weekend. Excellent. Well, wishing you well. I'll look over to Simon here. A three-car brigade again for Tickford here this weekend. I guess first off, looking back just a fortnight ago, you had Lockie Dalton behind the wheel. How would you assess how he went? It is, a second round as wild card.
Yeah, look, I think Lockie did really well. He's a mature young fella and got the best out of himself for the weekend. We probably let him down a couple of times in the pit stops that hurt him a bit, but he showed he could mix it with this level of driving, which was really good. And we're also really excited to see how Ryland go, obviously coming off the win in the last DS2 round. So he's really excited about it. Lockie's here to support him as well, and Ryland was in Perth, so it's a real team effort. But it's just great to get those guys having the opportunity to do the wildcards, and Supercars have been really good to support that, and we need to find that next generation of drivers. So hopefully they both have a good time and we get some good data out of it to get them forward going into the Enduros.
Those two drivers between Lockie and Ryland on two, different stages of their development career. What sort of goals and expectations do you have for Ryland coming into this weekend? He's obviously been very fast in Super 2, but again, just in his second full year here.
Yeah, look, I think for Ryland, it's obviously a big step up. He's only young. We forget how young he is, but he's a racer and he wants to go as well as he can. But for us, it's just about making sure that we get through the weekend clean and he gets as good a opportunity to do as many safe laps as he can, and it's experience. We're not expecting anything out of him, anything special, but if he can be competitive and finish midfield, that would be absolutely awesome for him. But ultimately, it's just about the experience for him this year and seeing where he goes beyond that.
It's looking to your two regulars in the 6 and 55. Both been on the podium quite a bit recently, but you guys haven't been on the top step since the start of the year. What is that missing piece that's keeping you from getting there, and how are you going to track it down this weekend?
Yeah, look, it's hard to put our finger on it. We're doing everything we possibly can. We've just had a bit of bad luck in certain rounds, and we haven't performed as well as we would have liked, particularly in Perth and Tasmania, where previously we've been quite strong. So we had some issues with car setup in Perth that we probably underestimated. But ultimately, we're here to go really well, and we didn't perform well here last year, so we want to see a big improvement. And I think, to be fair, Fords in general have struggled here in the past, so hopefully there's some improvement there. But I do know a lot of work's gone into it since Perth, and hopefully we roll the cars out really quickly today.
Excellent. And I'll look over to the other side here for Barry Ryan. I would say your boys seem a little bit refreshed after a little trip to Bali between rounds. How's the feeling inside the Erebus garage heading into this weekend?
Yeah, it's pretty positive. Biggest thing for this weekend, it's Cooper's first repeat round, so he's had the wild card last year, so qualified really well there last year and got involved in an incident. So yeah, he's really fired up about coming back here and being able to put a good display on for everybody and for us. And yeah, Jack won here in 23, got a pole, so yeah, we've got positive on our side and that side, and the cars have been strong all year. Perth we struggled a bit, but the Erebus base setup that Dave's struggling with now is not quite as good as it was last year, but yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, we've been pretty strong. You've had some top fives in qualifying, we just haven't delivered race results, and we had some suspension break on Cooper's car in a race in Perth, and then an engine expire, so 2 DNFs just don't help your points. So unfortunately it's not where we want to be, but you know, we're still feeling positive about the car speed and the drivers, so yeah, we're looking forward to a big weekend.
Definitely plenty of potential there. Getting about halfway into the season of Cooper's rookie year, how would you assess the first half of his first full season here?
Yeah, he's going good. He definitely doesn't mind putting it on the line, especially in qualifying, to get the result you need to be up the front, but sometimes he sort of oversteps the mark. It's easy to slow a fast driver down than it is to make a slow driver fast, as they say. So yeah, he's got to probably bring it back to 99.9% pushing the limit, not 101. And once he does that, you know, he's controlling a race. He's got really good race pace all the time, and really looks after the tyres well. So once he can get that, you know, top 5 qualifying position, or like third, like he was at the Grand Prix and it got rained out, that's where we're going to see the real Cooper, I think. But being in the med pack this year is just so difficult, especially when you're a rookie, because you're just a target. So you know, people are learning how he races, he's learning how others race, and trying to give respect. But we're just sort of saying, yeah, you've got to give respect, but you've also got to not put yourself in bad position. So he'll learn quick, and we're confident he's going to win races, hopefully by the end of the year. If not, he'll be ready next year to win.
Excellent. And you mentioned there a minute ago, the pace has been there, the results maybe not quite as often as you probably should be. How have you guys been managing it in-house and trying to just deal with that? Obviously, luck is luck in some cases, but you're keeping everybody focusing forward and pressing on. Yeah,
look, there's no hiding behind. The last 18 months have been really hard on our team, really hard, and losing key people. It took us a long time to... Well, it actually didn't. Our last rebuild was 21 when we got Brodie and Will. No one believed really in that, and we won a championship 2 years later, then won Bathurst a year after. So we've gone back to sort of where we were then. So yeah, it's hard on the team, and you know, to replace people like George and Tom and Brodie is really hard. And Brad Tremaine's going to kick goals in America, so that's 4 key people out of a team. It's really tough to replace that. So it's going to take time, and you know, we can't hide behind that. And I can only do so much, and the boys that I've had there for 6-7 years can only do so much. We bring fresh people in, we try and train them up, and unfortunately I'm still race engineering, and I say that because I shouldn't be. I should be running the business, but until we can get the right person to do that role, which we're trying to self-promote from within, and we're trying to find an engineer that we can just put in and be really successful. But yeah, I don't know, it's a balancing act, and you know, I can't say I'm really enjoying it, because you know, we got to a point where we were beating Triple Eight. We wanted to be that team that was the best year in Year 8, and massive respect to Roland Dane for what he did for that whole time that he was there, and what they're still doing. And we got there and we just couldn't keep the momentum, and no matter what everybody thinks the reasons why, we just didn't keep that momentum that teams like that can do. So anyway, it's a lesson learnt, this whole situation, and try not to go through it again. But yeah, it's tough. We'll get there again, and we're confident in our team, and got a great bunch of loyal staff there that want to stay on and want to see us get there again and win championships in Bathurst. And we're still going to go to Bathurst trying to win this year. There's no doubt. We'll have the belief, and we'll have the drivers that can do it.
Excellent. Great insights there. Thank you for that. I'll open it up to the journalists in the room for any questions here. I'm trying to get on.
Barry, further to that, I mean, is of this year, like, is trying to get Jack into finals or trying to build to Bathurst, or what's sort of, the sort of end game, I guess, at the moment?
I sort of got your question. I couldn't really hear it, but I think you said about what's our target this year.
Well, yeah, just like getting Jack into finals and like to compete for the championship, or to just build to Bathurst.
It's definitely a target getting Jack in the finals. He's 15th at the moment. Lost a lot of points for silly things, like a couple of team things, a couple of Jack things, but he's only 132 points. I think he's behind 10th, so that's just one good round. Like, you get 150 points to win a race or 130 for a podium, so we can just have one good round and a good Bathurst, get him in that 10 and then see where it goes. But that would be a really good result for our year, to try and get him in the 10 and get Cooper a podium or a win.
Can you, I guess, tell us where you're at for 2026 with your drivers?
Nowhere near thinking about that yet. We've got Cooper locked in, and Jack will just, like I've said, it's up to him to show us that he's still the driver we want, and it's up to us to show him that we're the team he wants to be in. So we don't really want to talk about it for a while. We don't need to. So we'll just get on with our business and make sure we can get results. That's all we want to do.
And there had been some talk, Barry, about starting the GM alliance, I guess, with you and Charlie and those guys early. Has that actually progressed to being in effect, or where is that at right now?
There's not really anything official yet, but I'm pretty excited about it. I've seen how it works in NASCAR and how GM do it there. So if we can get it to work like they do it, it'll be a powerful force to get GM like that. And obviously GM losing Triple Eight is a huge thing. So if we can be part of that success to make sure that the GM brand stays up there, whether it's us winning or another GM team winning, that's what I want to be part of, and they know I want to be part of that. So there's trips to America coming up to really go through that with them and make sure that when we hit the ground and do it, that we're going to be successful at it. So yeah, Charlie's team's Team 18 is the only team that can really do it this year, because the rest have got alliance with Triple Eight, so there's no way we're going to do that. So yeah, we're looking at ways we can start working with GM on a way to make sure that next year's successful for the 8 cars that are going to be there.
Dave, I think after Perth, Rod Nash from Tickford obviously had sort of said that this will be a big test, Darwin, of the temperature type, engine stuff. I guess what's your level of confidence on that coming into this weekend?
Well, all the indicators for us are that it should be better. So, I think we had Ford's had 8 wins and 9 poles at the moment, so it's a good staple for us to get the 4 teams collectively back up in a competitive situation. So our expectation is, from what we've been told, is that based off what the engine temperature sweeps have been done, that the engine should perform better. So then it's up to the teams to get the setups right.
Dave, one from me on the Ford side as well, the handover with Triple Eight to the end of the year. How's that progressing? Obviously, Jamie said there were complications, but can you share?
When we've got more information, we'll let everyone know. But at this stage, we're just continuing to work our way through what we need to as an organisation. We're hopeful that we can get that transition quickly, but there's lots of things still going on just behind the scenes.
And one on Davo as well, new car. I think he's 14th in the points as well. Obviously, the ambition is to get him into the finals as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like he'll get up to speed with that new car?
Well, I think the chance for us to go racing with finals this year is all about having 2 in there. We've got there's a longer game that probably we sit behind the scenes and look at, and there's a per round weekend which the engineers and the drivers have got to look at. I mean, you want them out there, getting the car quali, getting the car up the front, getting on the podium. So we haven't been too good at getting our quali in the right mould, but ultimately long term is about a little bit longer term plan to get 2 in the finals, and then let's see what happens from there. So yeah, a bit of work to do with Will's car, brand new car that we had last round. That always doesn't guarantee you better performance, so there's lots of learnings that came away from that, but shakedown was positive, and then we've got to learn from what we did from Perth.
And last from me, Simon, Ryland's kicking A in Super 2. It's his debut this weekend. Obviously, you thinking long-term about him as well for the main game?
Yeah, look, I think that he's someone who's certainly part of the Tickford family, and long-term we'd love to be able to give him the opportunities in the main game, but the difficulties are we've only got 2 cars. And as everyone knows, we've re-signed both Cam and Thomas for the next 2 years with a 1-year option, so it may well be that Ryland has to look elsewhere for a main game drive in the short term, and we'd certainly be really supportive of that. But let's just get him through this year first and not put too much pressure on him. He's won one round in DS2. He's an 18-year-old kid who can drive, but I think sport's very good at putting pressure on people after one really good result, and I think that let's get him through this weekend. Let's see how he goes in the Enduros and the Gen 3 car, and hopefully he can win the DS2 Championship and put himself in a good spot.
Carl's got one more.
Sorry, and just Barry, one last thing. I think a positive for the Erebus business obviously has been the chassis sort of, I guess, production or whatnot. Like you've got the Davo car that had just debuted. I think there's one coming for Courtney soon. Like, I guess, can you just speak a bit about that side of the business and how that's going?
Yeah, it's probably something we didn't need to do, and in hindsight we probably shouldn't have done it, but it's not a money-making thing. You don't make money out of doing that stuff, so no matter what anybody thinks. So, yeah, anyway, it's part of the business we tried to grow, and it hasn't really done what we thought it might. So, yeah, whether we make any more chassis or not, probably not. We'll just make our own.
Just to continue on that, Barry, what do you mean when you say that it hasn't done what you thought it might?
We wanted to create a business outside of just supercars and a bit more fabrication stuff, and whether we haven't just marketed it properly or we haven't reached out to the right people. We wanted to get sort of all Super 2 cars in and repair them and all that sort of stuff, but I think I don't know. There's probably more we can work on with it if we go down the right channels, but we want something that can make some income for the business as well, definitely, because it's hard to get sponsors and hard to keep this show on the road, so it's not going to get easier. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We've got a lot to do, but I've got too much to do this year to do more for the business, because I'm trying to engineer a car as well and help a new team manager, and I've got plenty on my plate, let alone trying to grow the business in those sorts of ways. So give it 12 months and I'll see if I can get my headspace back again and start again.
So is any part of feeling like you shouldn't have done it, is it based on the workload or the fact you've given away some potential competitive advantage?
Just the effort involved in it, because the way Jimmy does his stuff, he puts in way more hours than anybody else would to build that chassis, and it doesn't make sense in the end. You'd have to charge twice as much as what we charge, and you can't. So it's not good use of his time, and there's probably better things that can make good money that are use of his time, and stuff that he really wants to do, so we can keep him in our business, because he's such an asset to us that we don't want to lose him. And if he gets bored, he's going to go and look around, try and do something else. So, and just making supercar chassis is not what he wants to do with his life. So we're just trying to keep Jimmy in our business, and because he's so important to us.
Thank you.
I think that wraps us up. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today, and go well this weekend.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.